everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show.
You're watching Kim Jacobs Show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Kim Jacobs Show. How are you all today, Miss Deborah and Mr. Nicholas over there? How are you all?
Wonderful. Good morning to you, and thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to share this morning with you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Listen, I'm super excited to have you both here in the virtual studio audience. I guess technically I could have just come and met you all somewhere because I know that you all are in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, right?
That's
Absolutely.
So we'll at least have to get together one day for lunch outside of this virtual experience here. And I don't know if you all knew, but I used to film at the old Jim and Tammy Faye Baker studio.
Oh, did you really? Wow.
Yes.
That's impressive.
Wonderful.
Wow.
And
Those
I
are
had
names from the past.
a blast from the past, right? And I had a wonderful experience there, and would bring in. I actually had Emmett Smith. He was Dancing with the Stars, NFL Hall of Fame person, all of that. But him and his wife Pat, and they came in to talk. She does an amazing job of treasuring you and second chances. And
That's
she's an
wonderful.
amazing woman. And so I've had them come in. I've had Dominique Wilkins come in.
Oh, wow.
He's talked about how he balanced life with living with diabetes and being an NBA superstar. I've had
That's amazing.
Humpy Wheeler, you might know about him, NASCAR legend.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And of course, Les Brown, Dr. Les Brown now. I've had him come fly in here to Charlotte, interview him.
What an incredible person he is.
He's an incredible. I mean, I've been watching and admiring him for years. Decades now.
But now you're front and center because you're right here on his platform too.
Oh my goodness, that's wonderful.
What an honor.
I'm honored. Thank you.
I'm honored to have you all here today. Listen, I'm also honored to have all of you that are in the virtual studio audience taking your time today to be able to see how the Kim Jacobs Show brings balance to the world one household at a time. And so wherever you all are visiting in from, we welcome you. We want to give shout outs to you. We want to acknowledge you. We want to thank you because the show could not be what it is without your participation. So make sure you all share the broadcast with your friends, your family, your coworkers. Let everybody you know, people you like, people you don't like. It doesn't matter because they need to know about this topic today, which is good health is wealth, right?
That's right.
So tell everybody, Deborah and Nicholas, from your perspectives, just a little snippet. Let's start with you, Deborah, on what they can expect to hear throughout this hour.
Oh my goodness, so much information. We will talk about what activities we have for National Health Center Week this week. We will talk about the event on Saturday, August 13th. We will talk about Nick's event on August 30th and all the other activities that we have going on throughout Charlotte. Particularly, we desire to share the word about COVID and what we know about monkeypox currently. We want people to remain safe. We want to provide information on how to remain healthy throughout this pandemic, because we're still in the pandemic, but we're going through an endemic phase and what that looks like.
Wow. Nicholas, I'm going to shorten it. Is it okay to say Nick or Nicholas?
Either is fine.
Okay. Nicholas, let's stick there.
Either is fine. Well, my dear colleague, Deborah, captured the theme of what we like to talk about quite well. You know, the fact of the matter, though, is that, as she mentioned, COVID has been an extraordinary health public crisis, as well as an economic crisis that has affected everything we do, how we live, work, and play. And as we all are sort of rushing and get back to some level of normalcy, we are not out of the woods yet, right? And so both my colleague and I represent low-income Black and brown communities that, quite frankly, are still in the throes of the challenge, right? Due to vaccine hesitancy and poor information, lack of healthcare access. And so we are still at risk. And so part of what we're trying to do is really usher in, quite frankly, a different way of living. You know, good health is actually your wealth. And if we learn anything through this period, no matter how much money you actually have, if this virus hits you, it can change your life. And for low-income people, one health crisis we know, which is what the spirit of the Affordable Care Act, one health crisis can turn your life around. Absolutely. And so we really want to talk and just be about the business of healthy, seeing your doctor, eating well. It's very simple messages, quite frankly, but we have to kind of get through a lot of the kind of confusion, right, to get a healthy community. So that's really kind of what this is about.
And Nick hit it on the head, because ultimately COVID is the universal equalizer. We've learned a lot about being humans throughout this environment, right? That's throughout this pandemic. And it's a very different dynamic than we've ever experienced in the history of, in our history anyway. It's the equalizer. Unfortunately, we were flattened as a society. Our economy was terribly affected. Psychologically, we were affected. Emotionally, children were affected. Parents, jobs, homelessness has increased. So it's been a very universal downturn, and everyone's swinging or trying to swing upward. But we need to be very careful on not swinging too quickly. And ultimately, we see a lot of people out, they think it's over, because you're not seeing a lot of information publicly still about the pandemic.
Not at all. Not enough.
Not enough. And so everyone thinks we're out of it. And, they have the fatigue of being at home and they just want to be out. We all want to be out. We all want to have our lives back again. But we do need to be conscientious. We do need to be very careful. We need to wear our masks. We need to get vaccinated, and what that looks like. The government is still catching up as well, doing their best to get new medications that would also mitigate the various new viruses. There's so many variants. Now we have BA.5. What does that do? I'm gonna tell you what it does. It flatlines, and I don't mean flatlines in terms of the heart. It really has effect. It's so highly contagious. We have people who say, "Well, I wore my mask, or I didn't go anywhere."
Right, you've done everything right.
Food delivered, know. And I'm very conscientious, or become conscientious through the pandemic. Even when I have food delivered, wipe it down, spray it down, make sure that those germs are off. Let your packages sit somewhere for a day or two. We have to understand it's a new way of life.
Wow. Okay. Well, listen, y'all, that's what they're going to be talking about. And that was the snippet. So I hope that you will stay in your virtual seats so that we can have a hearty discussion on all of these necessary topics. Mackenzie, if you will, pop some of the comments up from our studio audience. And then after that, we're going to be taking a commercial break. But let's go to some of our studio audience members. Hello, all. Glad to be here, Eldoris says. And let us know where you're visiting from as well. Let's see. Hi, Hannah Lynn says. How are you? How are you? Great morning all the way from Jacksonville, Florida. Andrea says, hi, glad to have you. Hello, Kim, and welcome to your guest, Alicia Verdun. She's in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Hi. All right, let's see who else. Dodge City, Kansas. Okay, put your name, Facebook user, because some reason you haven't given the permissions for us to see your name. Okay. All right, who else is on today? Hi, so happy to be here. Kel Neal says, I am in the Metro Atlanta area, Eldora says, okay. And wealth time, wealth meaning
that's awesome.
The way they spelled it with well, health is in there. Yes, okay, glad to have you all. So listen, what we're going to do, hello, Les Brown, okay. Niskata says as well, glad to have you. Hi, Cool Gamer, glad that you tuned in. Yes, it's about being proactive and preventative. So some people will ask questions throughout this conversation, and they will be kind of on the spot questions. So feel free to answer what you feel comfortable doing and defer others if you have to. Okay. Listen, everybody, right after this commercial break, we're going to go ahead and formally deep dive into our discussion for today. We'll be right back talking about health is wealth.
It's not just another day. It's a brand new day. full of all the fun, love, and laughter you and your family create. Silver Shield Security understands feeling at home means feeling safe and happy. No credit checks, no contracts. We offer payment arrangements, and we'll even give you a free door camera. Find out how we can brighten your day even more at silvershield-security.com. Silver Shield Security.
And we are back. Today we are talking with Nicholas Wharton and Deborah Weeks. Nicholas Wharton is the founder of the Charlotte Area Fund, and he's also, and I want to make sure I have this right here, Mecklenburg County's Community Action Agency. So with Deborah Weeks, many people that are in the Charlotte area know that she is the CEO of the C.W. Williams Community Health Center. It is a huge difference maker in this community. So both of their entities together, I can't even imagine what a conglomerate union you all have formed here. And I'm quite excited about having you all here. So,
Thank you.
so glad to have you, and welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So now when we're not speaking, each person just mute yourself a little bit for me, because I think it's like a little echo. But the Charlotte Area's Fund, Good Health is Wealth public education campaign is actually a local initiative here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area that reminds residents of what a strong community is like, is how it looks when it's a really truly healthy community. It's a part of North Carolina's community action campaign. But here today, we're going to be talking about how important it is too to have globally great health. So who wants to speak to that first? How important good health is overall?
Why don't I just start, if you with my colleague wouldn't mind. You mentioned me as the founder of the Charlotte Area Fund. I'm not.
You're not the founder, okay?
Let me put some context to that I think is really will inform our conversation.
Well, can I go back and give you a formal introduction then? Nicholas Wharton is the president and CEO of the Charlotte Area Fund, a nonprofit that helps people at 200% or below of the federal poverty guidelines to find their way out of poverty. This is the formal introduction. The organization provides on-the-job training for in high-demand fields that include HVAC, broadband fiber, commercial driving, CDL, and construction. And they will also soon be opening up some new North Carolina DOT Construction Academy. And it's a lot more to the Charlotte Area Fund, but I want him to talk about that. Okay, go.
Wow, thank you so much. That was great. So context, right? So the Charlotte Area Fund has been in North Carolina and Mecklenburg County for over 60 years. So we are one of 34 community action agencies in North Carolina and 1,000 across the country. And they were formed literally out of Lyndon Baines Johnson's Economic Opportunity Act in 1964, an executive order, right? At the height of the war on poverty, created legal services, it created Head Start, created a whole bevy, I'll say, of initiatives to help move people out of poverty. Back then, it was clear that poverty required a federal intervention and engagement, particularly in the South. And so here we are today. So I stand on the shoulders, really, of so many others who've led this agency. And quite frankly, and Deborah Weeks and I almost kindred spirits in many ways, because the same kind of legislative energy created federally qualified health centers, in which my dear colleague is the president and CEO of. So the bottom line is this, right? This whole effort around, the notion of health is wealth. When you're working with the individuals who've been economically marginalized, we realize, right, that in many cases when you have either national or fiscal impact happens, low-income folk are impacted the most, right? And so this health crisis, quite frankly, has really devastated, so many people. We almost want to take a moment of silence to think about all the lives that have been lost, quite frankly. Right, to this incredible scourge, really, right? So we're not out of it, right? And so when you
say that, I know I'm interrupting, but it's on
purpose. No, please.
Guess what? It is a very profound point that you're making. Mm-hmm. There are over 1 million people that have names, family members, loved ones that people are no longer ever going to get to see on this earth again. So I do agree with you, and I I've seen it on CNN. I've seen it different places where people put some names and some context to
Yes.
the people
Yes.
that have
Yes.
passed away in this pandemic. But I really would, I don't think I've really heard anybody. I personally, I can only say for me, I
Mhm.
personally haven't heard anyone say, let's just take 1 minute.
Mm.
That's what I just heard from what you said.
Yes.
1 minute of silence. So we're going to take right now just silence. And it's nothing wrong with the audio. It's just a minute of silence to remember your own loved ones that have passed away, family, friends, family members, even friends of friends. Let's take a moment for 1 minute right now. Okay. And if all minds are clear, not like we're in church or anything, but for me, that when I took that minute, I was thinking about. I just thought about one specific couple. They have been married for like over 50 years and loved each other unconditionally. And that couple, the the whole family contracted pretty much COVID,
Mm.
and the husband passed away, and within the next few days, the wife passed away. And that's a huge deal because now it's like, yes, they live this earth together, but then they also transition from this earth. And I don't even know that they knew that each other were experiencing that level of agony. That's all I could think to say because a lot of people have transitioned from dealing with COVID in isolation. So, okay, I'm grateful that you all took that moment of silence in honor of whomever it is that you thought about. Okay, Nicholas, please carry on and talk about what you.
Well, thank you
I
for
want
that.
to say thank you very much for that, Nick, because that was powerful. I too had an opportunity to reflect on all of those near and far that have died and gone on as a result of COVID. And that was a moment that was definitely ushered in by God. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Yes.
Mm.
So carry
Yeah,
on.
at all of our events, I've tried to make a point of acknowledging, right, that folk are, you never know who's in the audience when you're talking to them, and you
Right.
realize that everyone has been impacted on some level. So when I think about the clients that we work with, as low income, oftentimes minimal skilled workers, whole industries disappeared, right? And hospitality industry, service industry, and these folk were impacted economically, right? So throughout
Yes.
this period, we've been providing rental assistance, keeping people in their homes, right? Providing income maintenance, providing workforce development services virtually, working with my good colleagues' organization to identify folk who need healthcare on various levels, really. So we've been at the front line. We went virtual. We didn't close our doors as many of my colleagues across the nation did not. And we just went virtual, and we really were at the front line. We received a $1.9 million CARES grant to really help families, and we're still in the throes of it. And this whole CARES Act in September, we provided summer school funding for kids because we had a significant loss of learning that occurred. And so we try to provide performing arts, summer programming, and Anthony Hamilton was a big participant.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, it was very exciting, right? And so we just try to do creative things, right? But actually, it was serious business, and it remains so for us.
Wow, that's very inspiring. And yes, getting celebrities on board and having them come back to their communities and just give back to the community does make a tremendous difference. And I know that C.W. Williams have partnered with the Charlotte Area Fund, and I'd like for you to be able to speak from that perspective of what made you all decide to come together collaboratively, Deborah.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction, and I really do appreciate all that the Charlotte Area Fund continues to do. We partnered because I was given a call to action to do, and we did a call to action at the beginning of COVID. And that brought together over 80 organizations. And through that, Nick and I became very good friends and partners in this whole pandemic. And the Charlotte Area Fund did not hesitate to assist the federally qualified health center that we are in Charlotte to assist the community. We remained open throughout. You know, federally qualified health centers are the, I call the American Red Cross of the health field. We don't go to sleep. We don't turn off our lights. We don't close the doors. We stay out. We stay about. We are directly caring for people in the entire community. And we made sure, partnering with people like Charlotte Area Fund, even Mecklenburg County Public Health, we really did partner from the beginning to assure safety. We were able to get some funding from the federal government to install our negative pressure room. We didn't have one of those. We had to reinvent ourselves on how to deliver care safely, how to do the testing. We did thousands and thousands and thousands of tests through drive-through in our parking lots, wherever people needed us to go, in our cars, in our vans. We did the testing. We evolved to the actual vaccinations in the same manner, continuing to do drive-throughs. Charlotte Area Fund pitched in. They said, look, we have to communicate with the public. We need to communicate with the children.
Yes.
We started establishing signs to put on yards and information booklets for children so they can learn more about why they're home. It was awesome. And they gave us the opportunity to share that information with our patients and the public, because we were no longer just addressing our patients. We were addressing everyone in need of testing, everyone in need of care. And there were so many that came from near and far. And as you know, testing was tremendous. And people did not have it available. They came to the FQHC in Charlotte from all kinds of places, 30 miles out. We were seeing addresses nowhere near the Charlotte area. And that's how badly people needed and wanted to know their status so they can save their life. It's not a joke. It's not propaganda. People died.
Yes.
People died. And I need people to understand that. Yes, I liken this period that we're in to the HIV situation that we were in the 80s and 90s, really. And when we were coming out, and what it started looking at, like, people were safely having sex. Well, guess what? That was a mask for HIV. We still need to continue to wear a mask against not just COVID anymore, all kinds of disease, all kinds of illness. At this point, we're starting to see flu escalate again.
Yeah.
You know, the flu's coming back, and earlier than before. We have to stay protected. We have to remain vigilant in our mask wearing, spray everything, use the sanitizers on your hands. You know, we have to continue to share that message. No, it is not the crisis that it was, but guess what, guys? We are still seeing states in red. We're on the alert because of the rising number of not only COVID cases, but hospitalizations, and death has gone up again. So that means we need to open our eyes.
Yes.
We need to be responsible. And yes, you have a right not to wear a mask, but we have a right to wear a mask.
That's right.
Well.
And it's each person's right.
Absolutely. And we are, now I go out in public and I have my mask on and people are looking at me as though I'm the strange bird. And so it's very important to send that message and leadership out as much as possible. And then know your illnesses so that you know what your challenge is. And we're all challenged with health issues one way or the other. Everybody's impacted, whether it's you directly, family members, friends, neighbors. Somebody's impacted by a health challenge. COVID is just the beginning. Now we have the monkeypox virus. Now, in our last 60, 70 years, there's only been 5 pandemics called, that's been notated, and 2 in the last 2.5 years. That's a huge.
That is huge. So it's clear that it's not, that the COVID is not going anywhere based on what I've observed and what all of the statistics say. So now that we understand that COVID is here, it's another new part of our lives. And now even with the monkeypox, which we're going to talk about that, what can people do wherever they are around the world to be able to safeguard themselves against what's happening with COVID from your perspective? And you can speak first, Deborah, and then you, Nicholas, as well.
I think that, again, we have to continue to wear the masks. I do believe there should be some political agenda items that need to go back on the table. I think it is very, I don't want to say irresponsible, but we need to be more responsible to keep our nation safe.
Yeah.
So having people not wear masks on the planes and travel, internationally is not responsible. We
That's
should be encouraging mask wearing on the planes, even though I know there's some air circulation and all of that. It's still a petri dish. You're shut in.
I'm grateful that you're saying that. So just exercise. What I think I'm hearing from what you're saying, Deborah, is to exercise your own right, your own choice, and don't feel like you're the awkward one if you choose to exercise that right, whether it's required or not. So even if a place doesn't require it, you're saying you can have your own personal requirements. And I know my mom is an avid believer in that. So she doesn't care where she is. She puts her mask on.
Absolutely.
And she'll take it down to eat or whatever, but she puts it back on. But then I will say, because this is a show about how we're balancing all aspects of our lives, there are places that I go and I don't always put my mask on anymore because I'm like, oh, it's starting to go down, but now what you're saying, I might need to mask back up. Get it in the bottom of my purse.
Absolutely, because you're keeping yourself safe, but you're also keeping your mom safe.
Right. Oh,
because you're bringing those germs with you. You see, we have to consider who we're impacting. And I think that's the lost message.
Y'all are dropping. Okay, so y'all are dropping. You sure y'all aren't on Capitol Hill somewhere? Because y'all are dropping some serious knowledge here. So it's not about even that you personally may want to wear a mask or not wear a mask, but who in your surroundings are you impacting by choosing not to? I'm wow. You're like a salesperson for this. All right, Nicholas, go ahead. Oh, wait a minute. You're muted. Let's go. Okay, go.
Well, this is an interesting conversation because we launched this recent public relations campaign on Juneteenth this year. And we did that for a reason.
Amen.
So you speaking about Capitol Hill, the illustrious Congressman Jim Clyburn, described Juneteenth in this way. He said Juneteenth was really, clearly it wasn't the day that African Americans were free. It was the day that they learned in Galveston, Texas, that they were free. So essentially it was a communication problem, essentially, right? And so here we are again. So we wanted to launch this campaign, even though Juneteenth was just an incredible experience and it's come to symbolize what it means to be African American. It's a national holiday and all of that, right? And we embrace our culture. But, our health, right, is also very, very important. So we had a campaign. We were part of that. We provided gas cards for families. We participated in the local Juneteenth event, trying to get the word out, right? But it was really interesting. And it was sort of like an object lesson, because we have all this wonderful cultural vibrance going on about our history and what happened to us and where we have to go. But this whole healthcare concern was really, wasn't really an essence of the event, right? But yet we plugged in, and it was we did what we could. Then I came home that evening and watched CNN, and we had the global, you might recall, Juneteenth celebration that was in California, right? And I recall someone, Debbie Allen, whom I love, just an incredible person, and she came out and she mentioned, we're kind of almost through with COVID in a way, because people were celebrating and so forth, right? And it just told me the depth of the challenge within our community. How do we blend all these cultural verb and who we want to be with being healthy, right? It almost goes down to the food we eat, which is a part of our culture, right? How we gather, how we come together. And my colleague, Deborah Weeks, he's got it right. We got to feel comfortable wearing masks in environments that others may make you feel uncomfortable about. But if you have pre-existing illnesses, right, you're even more at risk, right? And if you have family members, those over 60 or, who are older, you can bring this home and inadvertently, And so this is really a sort of cultural redefining, really, right? What it means. Since I'm talking about the African American community right now, right?
Right. And I'm actually, that's going to be my next question specifically for you all, is why specifically are you all collaboratively focusing on the African American brown community at
Right,
some point. I want
right.
you all to answer
Well,
that.
I really want to hear what my colleague has to say about this, but I remember 24 months ago when we gathered, and I remember my colleague put the call to action out in the community.
Mm.
She organized all these healthcare advocates and so forth, and we came to the table, and other constituency came to the table, and we kind of got a plan together, and we said we do bilingual signs in neighborhoods about social distancing, precautions early on, and we just locked in. But the thing that was interesting, going back to the communication challenge, is you remember, Deborah, there was some sort of lack of information about how this was impacting the African American community all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
And you advocated for, we need data, we need to know what's going on, right? So here we are again, and as the country sort of exhales and sort of moves on, right? There's been a lessening of providing accurate data, right, about what's going on.
Yeah, I don't see as much data at all.
So we're still in that box in a way, and we're just trying to do our part. Charlotte has a rich industry of healthcare providers. We've got Atrium, we've got Nova, we've got really big, and they're doing a fabulous job. But I think for us, because we are at the ground zero level, that you need cultural influences, people that the community respects, to communicate to them about what's really happening with their healthcare and how to get services. This is almost a ministry in many ways.
Right.
To sort of work with our community.
Really is.
Right. And the level of vaccine hesitancy based on all kinds of myths, right? Conspiracies, but actually, real disparate treatment from the healthcare system. So it's not all in people's heads, basically. Bad things have happened to good people in their interaction with the healthcare system, right? So we really got some uphill battle. And I'm not a healthcare provider. I'm really a supporter of the work of Deborah Weeks and what they're doing. But this is what it's all about, to sustain families. That's what we're doing.
That's
And
good.
this is-
Go ahead, you, Deborah.
No, I was just going to say, and this is exactly what the federally qualified health centers are all about. C.W. Williams particularly have been in the Charlotte area for 41 years. We serve Mecklenburg County, we serve surrounding counties, and we're on the ground. And Nick is right. We're on the ground hitting it. We're running in our communities. We're serving the people who mostly are under 200% poverty level, according to the guidelines. So we are, in fact, they're holding the hands up virtually and figuratively at this time, holding the hands up and praying, but also praying through action. You see, praying through our deeds, making sure that we're providing as much information to the community as possible, not just handing out all these words, because we need to get the information across. What is the most important information? What is that piece that they need to know? And some of what we shared earlier is it. But also, how do you take responsibility for you? What are the real underlying issues and why we are not taking care of ourselves? What is the root of the problem? How do we get to the root? Now, the social determinants of health always have been a challenge in order to maintain health. That's never, ever had, that's the purpose. We're here as a federally qualified health center. We are very pleased to provide not just medical care, social services, pharmacy, all at a more affordable cost, because people can't afford the regular pharmacy cost. 340B is how we leverage some of the costs, and we get that money reinvested into the health center. And that means what may cost you $35 at one of the premier pharmacies will cost you $3 at a healthcare center. So we do save you money so that you can get the medical services that you need, because a lot of people can't afford pharmacy. From the young to the very old, cannot afford pharmacy, and you cannot lower the blood pressure without medication. I mean, you can use food, and you can't. But how many of our people? We talk about Charlotte and my area on the west side being a food desert. What is it that means? What does it look like? It means that you don't have affordable organic vegetables to purchase. It means you have a chicken spot right around the corner, and there's 3 on the same block. It means that you have no gardens that you can go pick your fresh vegetables for free. It means that you don't have places or know how to make that wonderful chicken that's historically made with all the gravy and onions, and you don't have an understanding, or no one's ever taught you how to make it delicious, healthy without the fat. You know,
Wow.
how are we raising children, re-educating children about food, about what that means? And the Black community, this is important. Whether you're Latino, brown, Black, it's important because food is love.
Food
right?
is love, and I agree
Food
with
is
you.
love.
And when we come back, I would like for us to be able to share with people some of the ways that they can be healthy by choice, no matter what community they live in. And also, I want to find out from you all, a lot of people that are watching today are not in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, but they're global. So what advice would you all be able to give to them in their own respective areas when we come back from this commercial break? And I'm going to go to your studio audience comments right after this break. We'll be right back.
When someone has lost a loved one, they want to know what exactly happened. They want to know, is the other person going to be held responsible? And they want closure. At Hunter & Everett, we help clients that have lost a loved one move on, and to do that with dignity and respect that they deserve.
All right, everyone, we are back, and we are talking with Deborah Weeks and Nicholas V. Wharton, and together they have collaborated. One thing I wanted to say that I didn't get to say to you, Nicholas, in the past is that with the Charlotte Area Fund, it's interesting how when people get appointed to certain roles, then it all of a sudden heightens the awareness of that organization. So
Right.
I became more aware of the Charlotte Area Fund because you have been selected in the role that you're in. So that's why I was like, you must have found it. But so it gives you the opportunity, because of who they've selected as a leader,
Sure.
to be able
Right.
to reach even more people like myself. I'm aware of it because of that. Meanwhile, with Deborah Weeks and with the C.W. Williams group and the whole health center that's there and has been in operation for many years, when she came into that establishment, that's when life for me became like, oh my goodness, look at what they're doing. It's like major renovation. And when all of these things are happening, people get a chance to become heightened about both of your organizations. So I'm grateful for both of you all. So
Thank you.
Thank you. And so tell us what people can do globally, either of you all.
Well, listen, Deborah has, I'm certainly a huge menu of things folk can do. But let me just say one thing that that has been really helpful for me personally. So so my wife and I, right, we've been married several decades, right, and we walk every day. We exercise every day, right, and so it has been such a transformative, consistent, predictable, right, way of staying in shape. And I'm a runner too, right? But
Yeah.
I realize that, you know, at the core of it, we've got to get our bodies moving, right? We've got to move something, right? And not
Every
allow our
day.
bodies to- every day, right?
That's good.
And so exercise, I think, is so important. Obviously, seeing your doctor, and I say this particularly even to African American men in particular, because oftentimes, you know, we adhere, men in general, but African American men in particular, we adhere to this sort of rugged individual thing, and you know, we're kind of afraid about, you know, seeing a doctor. You know, we're unaware of our bodies and the development of our bodies, and we look at women who are so more advanced, you know, for a variety of reasons, right, in terms of what's going on with them. That obviously, men who are married, there's a real reason why they live longer, right, than men who are not, right, because they have women in their ears saying, "Listen, go to the doctor, you know, get it moving," right. So men have to be, even in terms of their stress, particularly Black men, you know, the kind of race, living in an environment
Absolutely.
that, you know, prescribes who you are and whose you are on a regular basis, right, creates such tension in our workplace that we really have to be concerned about our mental health, right? Exercise, right? And we also have to believe in something greater than ourselves, right? And I'm a person of faith, right? And so there's a lot of dynamics that I'm just speaking to Black men right now.
That's
that
good.
they really need to be hyper concerned about, getting exams, prostate exams, really being intentional, right, about their health.
I love
I
it.
could say more about that, but that's a big, very important matter for me.
That's
I
not
didn't.
only important, that's huge. It's if you want to save the family, you have to save the man in the family.
That's right.
Black men are dying more, often more frequently at a higher level than any other race in the community in the world. So we really do need to protect our men, encourage good health. Prostate exams, huge. We do need to take care of that. That form of cancer is the number one killer of Black men. One of the things that I want to say globally that we do need to do, if you give me a moment, is
Please.
to maintain these conversations, is to maintain an open dialogue, is to ensure that you have this type of conversation, updating people, providing them information, making sure that testing is available. We need to appeal to our government, to our elected officials everywhere around the world so that they can know what our needs are, but also to push that envelope. Push that envelope, keep that envelope pushed. Make sure that they understand and they respond to your needs. And
Right.
one of the needs today, I don't know if anybody on this platform understands, right now with the monkeypox virus as an example, there's only one place in the world that's made, and that's in Denmark. We need to push more items. Did we not experience through COVID that in fact America needs to be dependent on America,
Yeah.
the Americans? That we've learned that because of the codependency around the world, our supplies are not as available. Food has gotten to be higher. Gas is higher. There's so many issues related to trade being outside of the American government. And suppose another pandemic comes and we have to shut down. What will
That's a good
happen
point.
to us
Who
again?
knows? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. What will happen if another pandemic comes? And monkeypox, since we're speaking about another thing that's on the rise really quickly, either of you speak to that for a few moments too, about monkeypox is a new fear for a lot of people.
Yeah, and
Well-
it's interesting. Monkeypox is often talked about in the LGBTQIA community.
Right.
Let's be careful about that. Okay, this is not a sexual disease.
I'm glad you said that. Oh, okay.
This is not a sexual disease.
Hmm.
We must get away from pigeonholing people, from placing us all in this box or category. Anybody can get monkeypox with prolonged exposure to skin contact. Period. The end.
Wow.
If that mother or that father, as one of the doctors in my practice talks about, if that mother or that father is holding their child overnight, etc., that child can get monkeypox. So let's stop relating it to sex and sexuality. And gender specific sexual. That's not accurate. We have to, that may be the area now that you see it more often than not. And yes, that's the criteria for the vaccination because they're minimal. We don't have enough vaccine available for everyone. So that is the criteria right now the government and the CDC is pushing. Absolutely. But let's tell the whole story. It is skin to skin contact. It is not sex.
Interesting. Wow. Did you have something you want to say?
No. In fact, what I was thinking about, we had a meeting yesterday and Deborah shared some interesting facts about monkeypox and how it's affecting folks statistically, particularly African-American men. And could you share some of that, Deborah, what you shared?
Well, it's so interesting how, again, 85% of Black men right now are exposed to monkeypox. But I go back to HIV. Let's keep that in mind. Again, another area of illness, an epidemic that occurred that was specifically LGBTQ men on men, MSM men, was a predominant white male at the time, and it evolved to Black men. Then it evolved to everybody, women, all women, but then specifically Black women and pregnant women. So we are also funded by HRSA. we receive funding for Part D and Part C. Part D is WICI, Women, Infant, Children, and Youth. And the focus is on women because that was an increase in women and children because it was an increasing number of people affected by HIV.
Right.
Then now, and we also have Part C. So that's all of the men usually fall under Part C, and that's a bigger group for us as well. The same thing, we have to look at our experiences of the past so that we can learn what to look for in the future, right? So if we look at the trajectory of HIV, and we can pretty much manage how monkey virus will go if we don't begin to employ those tools to mitigate the disease as quickly as possible. It's gotten a lot further, a lot faster than anybody anticipated. We in the health field really did hope it disappeared quickly like some of the viruses have, and it have not right now. Right now we have 86 positive cases, and we diagnosed at C.W. Williams Community Health Center our first monkeypox case about a week and a half ago.
Okay. This is very alarming statistics and information that you all are sharing. And I know that it's very beneficial to everyone else that's viewing. What I would like to do is go to a few of the virtual studio audience comments, see if people have questions, comments that Deborah or Nicholas can address for the studio audience. So let's take a moment to do that now, Mackenzie. Start popping some of those questions and comments. Beloved, it says, I wish above all that you may prosper and be in good health, even as thy soul prospereth. Great. Thank you, Andrea.
Wow. Thank you.
Anybody else? Hubby and I exercise daily and stay healthy as an intentional act of love towards each other. That's beautiful.
Well, that's really nice. And in fact, I thank you for that, Andrea. My wife and I have a podcast, and it's literally called Walking with the Whartons. And it's really about our 40-year journey, right, of walking and talking and loving each other and understanding life's challenges. And so, Andrea, I'm listening to you loud and clear.
That is awesome. And Andrea, speaking of his lovely wife that he's referencing, let's pull up this lovely picture. Walking with the Whartons.
Look at this. Look at this.
That's beautiful.
And y'all look at Nick's eyes, y'all. He been on here, but on there he's like all dreamy eyed. Like
I'm just gonna say the same. Yes.
Hey, baby. Mrs. Wharton, you bring out the best in your husband.
I didn't see that coming. Okay.
Off, right?
I'm actually blushing.
He's blushing, yeah.
And that brown skin over there is turning kind of turning red a little bit, right?
You can feel it. Let me sweat this.
That's beautiful. And you know what? It is so important to exercise daily. People like myself need that lecture and lesson on a regular basis. Yeah. Sitting is the new cancer. I sit 12 hours a day. And I have to be conscientious now to get up every hour on the hour and walk no matter what in the house. I have to make a concerted effort. Honestly, through the pandemic, we've been inundated with much more work, and it's been a huge process. But we have to be reminded in the health field as well. I really have learned through COVID what the airlines mean about putting your mask on first. My goodness. We really understand it now, don't we?
Yes.
If you don't take care of you won't be around to take care of anyone else.
That's right. And that theory is very relevant right now. I do see you, Andrea, saying that, yes, he's definitely in love. Yes, he is. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's because we're not healthy that we can't do anything else. And everything that you all are saying, hello to the panel, and grateful to learn this information. Angie does hair, says. And let's see. Our community has not been cultured to raise in preventative health and wellness. We must re-educate. And I think that's exactly what Deborah Weeks and Nicholas Wharton is here to do today. We must re-educate. There's not a doctor who's practicing who cares more about my health than I do, according to Andrea. My message has been preventative and proactive health. Anybody want to speak to that? Caring more about your health than even your physicians and medical care providers care. I love this.
Well, I'll just simply say, and I'm sure my colleague has more insight about this. I've been, positively moved by the culturally competent efforts that are going on within the healthcare industry. There are that are really more culturally centered. understanding how culture plays a role in healthcare. And there are a lot of really interesting initiatives going on, not enough that hasn't yet translated into public policy in a very, forceful way. But I know that my colleague, we talk about culturally competent practices where you kind of center on who you are ethnically and culturally, and how that plays out, their cultural values that you bring to understanding your body, understanding health. So maybe you can kind of maybe put some context to that, Deborah, in some ways in terms of how you've experienced that.
Go ahead, Deborah.
One of the most important aspects of looking at culture is to really understand where we can relate to one another and where we don't. And that's why I say communicate, communicate, communicate. Keep those doors of communication open. We do need to have conversations, not among ourselves only, but although that's most important, but also embrace the other cultures so that we can learn from one another, because we don't live alone. We don't live alone. Around the world is reflective in every society today. We see the many changes that are happening in Charlotte currently. We're not just a monolithic society. We come in all races, ethnicities, religions, creeds, colors. It's amazing what's happening in terms of change and embracing culture. Culture means different things to different people. How does it impact health is what we need to start looking at, because again, it doesn't happen by accident. And yes, prevention is the first model of care. It is the most important thing. So who should we start to address? We shouldn't leave anybody out.
Nobody.
I'm becoming the quote unquote elderly population soon.
I
right?
can't imagine,
Oh,
but
yeah.
okay.
Oh yeah. So I'm up there. Don't fool. I'm not putting my age out right now, but I'm
Okay, girl, I'm 52, right? So I'm like,
I'm well over you.
No. Okay, this is crazy.
I'll be 10 years older than you in September.
Okay, y'all know y'all need to put some heart emojis in the comment section, some fire, some what? That is that's seriously.
I'm 10 years older than you.
Get out of here. You look amazing.
Thank you. Good genes, and the Jesus I serve, he's all right too. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
Okay. Oh,
I
man.
really, and I have to tell you, it's very interesting talking about good genes. That's a preventative model too. I'm not saying we can pick who we choose and what they come with, but really understanding it from the beginning. If I had to do it all over again in life, it would be a very different way of living from the beginning. I grew up involved with sports. I grew up, my mother was very highly active. And for a little tiny lady, she walked really fast. My father was always very active. I love swimming and all of that. But once you become an executive, you're sitting down, you're talking, you're always doing this. And we have to be more mindful, more intentional with our movement. We talk about this as a Les Brown show. I have to tell you, I've always loved him. I've watched him from the time that he was heavy, how he made a healthy path for himself, how he changed his life. And I can't tell you the ups and downs of my weight and all of that through life. And it's interesting because we have to remind ourselves daily. If you don't have a husband or a wife or a partner, get a partner. Get a partner. Do something. Just employ something different every day till it becomes rote. It'll be more exciting for you. Some of this information we'll be distributing on Saturday at our health fair.
I'm going to pull that up. I definitely want to take a moment to go to the page that talks about a big event that's happening in the Charlotte area. So if you're in the Charlotte or surrounding area, we're going to give you locally, at least, the opportunity to be a part of this incredible event. So let's go here and tell everybody what's happening here on August 13th.
Mm-hmm. And this is our annual community health fair. We are so excited about it every year because it's in recognition of National Health Center Week. This is an experience that every FQHC throughout the United States share globally. We are so excited about it every year. This time we celebrate patients, we celebrate children, we celebrate homeless, we celebrate stakeholders, we celebrate ourselves, we celebrate you, those people who continue to support us and need us. We're looking at different methodologies. We're doing the drive-through this year as we have in the last 2 years to keep people safe. We still have book bags to give every child. Rather than doing a vaccination, back to school vaccinations on one day, we've employed that all week long. We've had a wonderful time at the health center so that we could, in fact, vaccinate these kids, but they're having a ball. And that's what we want to create. We still want to give life back to our children and to our families. And we give out a lot of food, and we have gifts for the children and book bags filled with school supplies. And there's opportunity for vaccination, for testing, for in new information. We have partners like Nick and his staff will be there. The Y is so generous to have us there every year. It is because our mainstay is being rebuilt, so we can't use our parking lot, and we are always glad to partner with the Y. They work every day tirelessly with children and families. We are looking at all the different aspects. I know the radio station is going to be there, and Hugo from the Hornets will be there. There's different features. All of our elected officials usually come out in a bang. I know Congressman, and the reason I started this actually is Congresswoman Alma Adams. She asked me to host the first one, and when I arrived, in recognition of her sister who died from sickle cell.
Yes.
And so we realized that this historical legacy now has been pivoted by, or started once again, because of our Congresswoman Alma Adams, who continues to support us, who's gotten us $1.15 million to renovate to rebuild our building in Charlotte, so that we could prepare to provide a more healthy environment for you. Anyone who comes through, we want to provide a healthy environment. What you see before you right now is our other huge health center located at 5800 Old Pine Road. Thank you so much. We want to be as modern and competitive and everybody's entitled to not only good quality health care, but to have it in a great environment.
Absolutely.
And so we too need to we need to make sure our government officials, everyone continues to help support us. We are looking for continued support throughout the next couple of years during the process of building, but you'll hear more about that at another time. I know that Mr. Wharton, Nick, wants to talk a little bit about his activity that's coming up on the 30th also.
Okay, now before we do that, everyone take a moment and screenshot this. You can learn more about the 8th annual Back to School Community Health Fair. If you're in the Charlotte and surrounding areas, make sure you make your way there on August 13th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you can also visit, let me make sure you know where to go. You can go to cwwilliams.org to learn more about that event that's coming up. So thank you so much. And tell us about, and before I go to Nicholas, let me make sure I put this woman up because I don't want to forget.
Oh my God.
So tell us about that lovely lady.
Wow. Boy, you know how to knock me off my boots. Oh my gosh. That's my mom. That's her at 96 years old. So now you know where I get it from.
Yes, longevity and looking good. Look at that woman right there at 96 years old, y'all. Wow.
That was her virtual birthday party.
Aww.
And December 5th, 1996. It's 1996. Listen to me. I'm so
She's
thrown
96.
off.
I know.
2000. That was 2020. She died August 20th, almost 1 year to the day. August 20 last year, 2021.
Oh,
thank you so much.
We love you, Mom. We love you. We love you. 96 years old. And she is celebrating Deborah Weeks today from heaven. Yes, Andrea, 96 years old. Yeah. She looks amazing.
That was my fire. That was my fire. People say, boy, you are something else. Yep, that was why.
And look at you. You're a fireball.
She was all of 5 feet. When she died, she was 4'8". And you would never know it. She had the stamina of a 7-footer, and she would take you on. She challenged everybody to be educated. She challenged everybody to be their best selves. She grew up a whole community of women. She made women, as she say, and make themselves represent well. Don't pay. Look, she didn't care what you did, but be the best at what you did. and not fall on the sword for anybody unless it was for the good and the will of God. And
For
that
good doing, yeah, for good cause. All right. Well, I
Mhm.
celebrate
you
your mom today.
so very much for doing that. That is, that's the strength, that's the shoulders I stand on.
Mhm.
Praise God.
Wow.
Come on, Mr. Nicholas.
Well, I'll just say what Deborah did not say is that Deborah was a good and faithful servant to her mom all the way to the end. And so God bless you on that
Thank
journey.
you for that.
So on August 30th, Charlotte, if I don't have a flyer, on August 30th, we're going to be part of what's called the Defeat Poverty Campaign. It's a statewide effort that has been moving across the state with my colleagues in community action agencies in partnership with Samaritan's Feet. And so we're going to have a community resource fair at Bruns Elementary School.
Okay.
And we're going to provide close to 400 families with shoes, right? As well as groceries and gas cards and information. We're really going to put out, we've had a long relationship with Bruns Elementary School over the last few years, but this is really going to mark us putting our arms around this school, right?
What is this? What is this called again?
It's called it's called Defeat Poverty Campaign Community Resource Fair, right? And we're partnering with We Can Do It campaign with the Department of Health and Human Services, right? My colleague Deborah Weeks will provide vaccinations, scheduling for immunizations, obviously shoes, groceries, gas cards. It's going to be a really interesting celebration, right? But we really are looking at building out a relationship. So all of our partners that will be involved in this, they'll be scheduling activities on the ground. We have a tutoring program to help kids as they begin the school year with learning loss. So we're going to be working along with parents. We're going to be providing our workforce development training initiatives for the families, those who are underemployed, helping them, right? And financial literacy partner. We'll be scheduling folks for credit repair. So we're going to do a whole range of things that day. And there's going to be some legislators that'll be in town. There'll be music. We'll have probably one of our radio shows will probably be live broadcasting there. So it's really going to be exciting. We're just really trying to make sure that young people, as my colleague is doing as well as they enter the school year, they have what they need, right? And we're going to stay with them, right?
That's awesome.
The journey. So
and that's going to be on August 30th. Now I don't have
30th.
a flyer for that, but I want to put up.
One.
Okay, because I was going to say I have everything, but I don't have a flyer for that. But it's coming out.
Yes, we will get you one. In fact, it's really for that community.
Oh,
right?
okay. I was going to say, why don't I have this? What?
Right. We're really trying to focus on that community. So one of the other tidbits I'll share with you, Bruns Elementary School was really, it's a very historic institution because it was a part of the Swan case that predated the Brown v. Board Education.
Okay.
Right. And Thurgood Marshall actually walked on those grounds. Right. It's a historic school, and they're building another one next to it. They're going to be remodeling and building another one. But that history, we want that to be maintained in the new location in about a year. So it's a historic school. Good. It's very exciting. Bruns Elementary School Community Resource Fair, Defeat Poverty Campaign. And it's part of the North Carolina Community Action. Defeat Poverty.
Defeat Poverty Campaign, August 30th. If you want to find out more about this, I want you to go to the charlotteareafund.org. And you can also call 704-372-3010 to learn more about the Defeat Poverty Campaign. It's going to be an amazing event, August 30th. And again, even if you're global, no matter where you are, reach out to them on WhatsApp, reach out to these organizations because they can give you resources to help you wherever you are. Very important to know. I have to take a moment, everybody, to celebrate my beautiful mom.
Oh my goodness.
Me.
Look at that. That's beautiful. Oh
my mommy turned 71 years old today. We're not getting off this show without me talking about this woman right here. Today marks 71 years for my mom.
Congratulations.
Wow.
She is when I say it's the most wonderful mother in the world to me, I cannot even imagine anybody else being my, I just couldn't imagine. God blessed me with a dream come true
Amen.
mom. And one thing that I put on Facebook today is happy birthday, mom. And I put E.L.L.A. East, and I gotta read this, y'all, for 1 minute. E stands for each day you worked as a single mom to make sure that me and my brothers had what we needed. You came home and you played board games, you attended all of our activities, prayed with us, and you gave us a home cooked meal. She also ultimately became a bonus mom. So I should have said eventually becoming a bonus mom.
Mhm.
L, looking beyond fault. Some of the things I've personally witnessed happened to my mom, to you, are
Yes.
things that most people never could forgive. But some people have truly hurt and used you throughout your lifetime, and you still love them sincerely, and you show complete compassion. You even celebrate them. I've witnessed my mom celebrate people that I know did her wrong.
Mm.
Ella could have been Ella. It could have been a book in the Bible. I promise you.
Oh,
I have
wow.
never met anyone like you, and I love, cherish, and admire you for that.
Mhm.
L, you are a loyal mom. You worked one job for over 40 years. Unreal. You are loyal to your job. You're loyal to God, your
Mm.
family, friends, and even new people that you don't even know. You're still loyal to them. Not only are you loyal, you do exactly what you say, and you are trustworthy. When anyone, including me, says that you are their ride or die, they mean it. I mean it. And the final letter is A, my angel on earth.
Mm.
I always knew I had a special mom as a child. But to be an adult, have my mom come and help me when my son passed away with my 5 children. This woman uprooted her life and changed my life. To witness you in action as a mother, a grandmother, a daughter, a sister, a cousin, an aunt, a friend, a bonus mama, a boo, a grandma boo, everything that you are, and even just the kindest stranger to people takes my thoughts about you, mom, to a whole different level. You are an angel walking on this earth. Happy birthday, mom. Happy birthday to my mom. Yes. Okay.
Awesome. Happy birthday to her.
Yes.
Congratulations to you too. Congratulations to you, because having such an awesome mom means all to us.
Yes, it really does. It really does. So somebody asked, is this a virtual event that you all are having, these events?
No, it's
No.
not all virtual. It's in person live.
It's in
In
person
person.
live, but you can reach out to them no matter where you are in the country, and make sure that you WhatsApp them, call them, get on their websites, make sure that you stay connected with them, and
Yes,
they
please.
will assist you no matter where you are. If you're in Kenya, if you're in Liberia, it doesn't
Right.
matter.
That's
Reach
right.
out to them, okay? And then the thing I'll tell you as a final note, and I want you all to say one closing comment, and we're going to get off, is tomorrow, Mackenzie Rhodes, who is backstage most of the time on the Kim Jacobs Show, she's coming out. She's coming out on the Kim Jacobs Show to talk about a life-threatening disease that she survived, and her life changed forever. I'm not going to go into the details. I'm going to let her share her story, but she's going to be here tomorrow to talk about it right here on the Kim Jacobs Show at 11 o'clock a.m. All right, closing comment, Deborah. We're going over a few minutes here, but it's well worth the topic.
Well, I just want to say thank you, and I applaud you. I feel so honored to be a part of your show. You can count me in as a faithful friend, and please call us for anything. I appreciate the opportunity to talk not only about C.W. Williams and Charlotte Area Fund, but all of the people we serve in our communities throughout Charlotte and Mecklenburg County. Thank you so very, very much. And always thank you to the Les Brown for making this all available.
Thank you. Thank you. Nicholas.
Well, this has been a wonderful time. I will say this, and since we brought up my lovely bride, yesterday was our 42nd anniversary, and I want to say happy anniversary to my wonderful bride as she gets to see this.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. My mom said
Thank
thank you for the birthday blessings. I love you all. She's always a faithful member and viewer of the Kim Jacobs Show too. She supports me.
Yes.
Thank you,
And Kim, you are living on purpose.
Oh, thank you.
And that's clear. And I thank you so much for inviting us to be
That's
here.
awesome.
Oh, thank you all. Thank you for being our guest today. I welcome you back again in the near future. And anybody that wants to support the Kim Jacobs Show, here are some ways to do it. You can screenshot it. And we thank you for your online contributions. It's the only way that we can bring balance to the world, one household at a time. All right, everybody, that's today's episode. I will put this final thing because it's important that you know if you're dealing with final life expenses and you don't know where to turn, we do have another episode sponsor that I didn't play her video today, but it is important that you know, getinsured.solutions. She helps you keep more of the funds in your pocket versus having to put all of it out for burial expenses. 704-499-3616. Her name is Samantha Benson, and she is one of our episode sponsors today. So thank you to all of our episode sponsors, and thank you CTR Media Network as well. You can learn more about them at ctrmedianetwork.com. If you're looking to have a show on a platform, please make sure you check them out. We stream there as well. Have a happy anniversary, happy birthday to your mom. Thank you, Andrea. And everybody, thank you all for being here today. Go to those events, learn more about them, and you all stay backstage. See you tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m., everybody. Thank you, Mackenzie, backstage. Bye-bye, everybody. Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show.